Thank you, Bob, and thank you everyone for coming today, and thank you for inviting me here today. And firstly, I just want to acknowledge the fact that this land that we all live on and work on, I live on it, many of you would live on it, and all of you work here, is the land of the Gadigal people, the Darug Nation. I pay my respects to them. And this beautiful part of the world, we should also acknowledge, was hard fought. We've heard of the Frontier Wars. The Frontier Wars were fought around us as Indigenous people, and settlers in the early days did not get along so well, and all that happened on this beautiful country because it is such a beautiful country. And you might have heard of the man Pemulwuy. He wandered around where we are, and it was highly contested country, which we acknowledge. Well, thank you for the invitation to be here today. As you might imagine, I get many invitations to go to many businesses, and I'd love to go to them all, but I can only go to a few, and accept a small slither of invitations I get. But I'm very keen to accept yours, because you're a local company, and you are putting your money where your mouth is, and you are doing the hard yards when it comes to decarbonisation. So where a company's doing that, I'm here to support you. And I was very impressed with this report. You know, there is such a thing as greenwashing, where people say, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, but and I look at very closely when I hear of companies' plans, and I check them out very carefully, because I do see some greenwashing. And what we have here today is the opposite of that. This is real commitment and real plans. And you know, and I know, you know perhaps better than me, that this is, as Bob said, the way of the future, because your customers are and will increasingly require it and demand it. And they want to know when they're building their homes or their schools, their churches, their office buildings, that they are helping, not hurting, the planet, which is ours. And increasingly, companies that don't do this will be left behind. And they'll be missing out on business, domestically and internationally. And your investors, and your insurers, and your entire supply chain will require it. And this is, as you said, Bob, downstream decarbonisation. Last week I was in Gladstone, where I was dealing with upstream decarbonisation, working with QAL to decarbonise their huge aluminium smelter, alumina smelter, where they take the bauxite and turn it to alumina, which is much earlier in this process. And we're reducing their emissions by several million tonnes a year. And what you're doing is really the next step in that process. And I was impressed by a few things in this report. I was impressed by your GreenCore product, your Ultra GreenCore product, and I was impressed by your commitment to be net zero by 2030. Now I've got some bad news for you, Bob. Today it's 65 months to 2030. Tomorrow it'll be 64 months to 2030. That's not long. 64 months is not long to get this task done. We have to use, well, yeah. You'll still be around in 2030, I'm quite sure. And you'll have, that means 64 months, they go by real quick. The reason I use 64 months is to remind myself and my team and all of us, we don't have time to think about it. 2030 might seem like a long way away. Those 64 months are going to go real quick. 6 years now. You know, I sometimes say our daughter is in second year uni now. We dropped her off at kindergarten last week. She has no right to be at uni. But anyway, my point is those 12 years of her schooling went by just like that. These next 6 years are going to flash before our eyes. So we have to get on with it. We don't have time to think about what we're going to do. We have to be living it and working on it. And that's what you're doing here today. So I was very pleased to accept your invitation. I'm very pleased to declare your first ever sustainability report open for business, an official document. Congratulations on preparing it. Congratulations on your plans for Allspec Solar, which I was very impressed to hear about this morning. I look forward to hearing more about it as you make it a reality with your partners from New Zealand, and perhaps come back and launch that as well when that's ready to go. So just great to be with you this morning. Congratulations on all your efforts. It's a very big achievement. I'm very pleased to join you. In the government, you have partners and friends who will be here with you. Government is important. What government policies we do, what targets we set, what we fund, that's important. That's the essential starting point. But we can't get there without companies and communities and individuals and unions and
industrial groups coming together. We have to be all in to get this task done. Decarbonising our country, getting to net zero by 2050 as a country, getting our targets for decarbonisation of 43% by 2030, it can't be done without us being all in. It's not a whole of government effort, it's a whole of society effort. And you're stumping up and being part of that effort. So congratulations to you and your entire team. I'm delighted to officially launch this report by you, with you, and for your entire supply chain. Congratulations.